Hi friends, it's Eric here. I wanted a quick video where I answer a couple of comments. Hopefully it won't be a super long video, but
I'm pissed off.
no, I'm not pissed off. I'm not actually. That's for a change. I just want to answer some comments that I think are interesting and make me wonder about some things. So, there's been some pushback on the notion that Binyamin displayed Ne PoLR. That one doesn't seem to bother me at all. Like, he seems Ne PoLR to me. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Now, Evelyn said she didn't think she could do much better on the Ne test. Well, Evelyn, you're an INTP. You are an INTP. Get over it. There's no way you're an ISTP. ISTPs don't offer up that much opinion about things. If asked, they'll provide it, as Binyamin did when I asked him. You're offering up opinion about things all the time. So, you're not an ISTP. You can just put that in your pipe and smoke it right now, little missy. Do you like it when I talk to you in that sort of condescending fashion? You can call me Little Mister if you want to. Okay. Here's my interpretation of FI serving TI. I'm actually pretty aware of my FI. Thought I was not always. I actually feel the way you described our 8th with my 7th. FI is sometimes a horrible monster in the moment of experiencing the feeling, but after the fact, it's helpful to reflect. It's also useful to think into the future about how you will feel about something, and then that is a data point you can use when making decisions. Not usually a relevant one, but it's good to have all the information before you decide. It's also helpful to understand how feeling affects you, to understand how feelings affect other people. It's useful understanding that it's a data point, gives you a better understanding. Okay, well, that's interesting. Interested calculus would be in order to be sure that your calculus is indeed disinterested. That makes lots of sense. This is interesting. You may be talking about a different TI then. Well, okay, this is another point I wanted to say. Now, if it is in fact the case that Jung's fundamental position is that the introverted functions are subjective and the extroverted functions are objective, then why use the words at all? Unless he's defining extroverted and introverted in that way. If he's defining extroverted and introverted in that way, then we need to parse down exactly what he means by objective. Because if all he means by objective is that it's external, then why is he using the word objective? Normally that's not what it's used to mean. A person can be said to be objective about something without even saying any comment at all. He's objective. We can ask him. Means he's likely to make a disinterested calculus. So that's how the word's used. Jung's just wrong about TI. And he's wrong in his ideation. When he says TI is subjective, or introverted intuition is subjective, he's wrong. Introverted sensing is subjective, to the extent that it's either subjective or objective, but it's not. It's really neither. The only thing is there are only two functions that are really objective and subjective, and that's TI and FI. TI is subjective. TI is objective. FI is subjective. The other aspects of things are neither objective nor subjective in the calculation department, but they may still be objective or subjective in terms of what kind of relationship they have to data. So, if an attentional manner is engaging data that is either already communicatively available to everybody, and or engaging data in a way that makes it communicatively checkable by everybody. So it's like, can I look at the data too? Yes, you can look at it too. Well, then we're talking about objective data as having that quality, namely that it's external. So in that regard, it's true that the extroverted functions deal with objective data that other people can access and see, but that is also true of words in general, TI data. If I say, here's my argument, and it's my logic, and I present it to you, you then can scrutinize that logic. And then if we disagree, we can bring a third person and present that logic to them, and they can scrutinize it as well. So it's absolutely incorrect, no matter what Jung meant by objective and subjective. He didn't catch this contradiction in his own reasoning. The reason Jung's definition of TI doesn't match up with mine is very simple. He's totally wrong about it. That's it. That's all there is to it. What you said about NI caring less about words, more communicating the idea behind the words. Well, yeah, it's... Sandra comment. It makes me impatient sometimes too. Sometimes it doesn't. Because I see it as reflective of them giving me answers, right? If they're delaying and humming and hawing, they're giving me answers. Because I'm asking the questions, I don't really care what the answer is usually. I'm seeing how they approach answering the question and a lot of other things like that. Oscar L. Oscar L here says, I think Oscar L is probably like a CSJ lackey or something, or maybe a CSJ thing. I've heard he's come in and made stupid ass comments before that make no sense. So here's it: allocating resources to work on your weak functions is a great idea. It's one way to take responsibility for yourself. So what resources do you think you're going to allocate there, Oscar, to working your weak functions? There's only one resource you can allocate, right? Your time. I'm not sure how that could be responsible. I mean, either I'm doing something with external consequences, in which case I want to attend via ways that are strengths for me, or I'm doing something with only personal consequences, internal, in which case it makes sense only if you dislike the person you are. Regardless, please remember that to attend as a process of being is how you be you. A cognitive function may manifest in part as skills when viewed from the outside, but it is always and only ever time spent being you. So, for example, if I were to work on paying attention to or via my FI, I would be spending my time trying to be less like me. Any and every human must forsake some potentiality in order to realize any other. And you pretty much shouldn't ever give up basketball for tennis on the grounds that you like tennis less and are worse at it. Instead, you seem to think that makes you responsible to play more tennis. So, Oscar, there's your the enema you requested. Enjoy. Let's see. Evelyn, questioning your INT penis. Stop twiddling your INT penis in front of us. Well, Oscar did credit me here on this one. So, Oscar, I appreciate you crediting me. You're not just a lackey then. You may even be a crony. You may have worked your way all the way up to crony. This person, Turkey Al Emery. Both of you don't know shit about typing people. Well, you don't know if you have a penis. There. Now both of us have said stupid, unwarranted shit. I'd be more responsive if people say unwarranted shit like this before. From now on, I'm going to just say some random shit about them and say, there. Now we both said random stupid shit. What was I else? This guy. Gain Fitness Systems. You are such a silly guy. Gain Fitness Systems is saying here, the battery example, Springside Flat, is so INTP, so much SI displayed in this video. Cares about comfort, not focus on money, status. Looks like a hippie. Where's the freaking SE? Putting in batteries correctly is not INTP. I mean, do you think you need to be some kind of genius to put in batteries correctly? You know, is that what you're thinking? That's why it's INTP? Because he knows how to put in batteries correctly? And INTP is super smart or something? Or is it because Springside Flat somehow correlates with extroverted intuition? I mean, Senjin wisely and correctly points out, he doesn't look like a hippie, he looks like a Hasidic Jew. Duh. Typing based on preference, look, and display is bad enough, but at least get them right. I know. Oh, yeah. Gain Fitness Systems. You're silly. Please watch this again and see how much you're trying to find excuses for why its NE is developed for an ISP. Okay, even if it's true that his NE is developed for an ISP, and I don't think I made any such excuses for that in there. I don't remember making excuses for it. His NE doesn't seem particularly strong at all. I mean, you saw what he did with my joke, right? With the woodman. And I was like, will you buy a Rolex? And he just got as concrete as you could get with it. Well, I mean, obviously, if an actual wooden man were walking up to me, I would be shocked and dismayed, and I would wonder if I had eaten something weird or what. Oh, that's not real life. He didn't say, he didn't roll with it for sure, right? He didn't go, oh, shirtless woodman, I have been looking for you. You're just the one I'm looking for, the guy with the Rolexes, what, right? Because I was talking to another wooden creature over there, and they can't, and any person might do something like that or whatever. They certainly wouldn't respond like he did. So, I mean, Gain Fitness Systems here is saying, see how much you're trying to find excuses. Even if that were the case, that's not an argument as to him not being any seventh. You'd have to point to the things I was trying to excuse, right? So if in fact the excuses existed, then that would be a good thing for you, because you'd be able to then point out the things I was excusing. The only thing that matters, not my trying or not trying. Sheila, you're going to be sad to hear some news about that plaid shirt. Sheila liked my plaid shirt, Kimberly.
Oh, God.
That plaid shirt is no more.
Tell her I'll mail it to her.
Well, Kimberly said I wasn't supposed to have that plaid shirt on because it was in the car because we were going to go to Goodwill. But,
No, I was going to give it to somebody that's cold.
You told me Goodwill
on
earlier.
The street.
Okay, well,
because I decided that it was
Kimmy,
too good of a jacket to just give away.
You didn't tell me that part before you told me Goodwill before I took it away. Yeah. It was this old thing that had kind of
it's
like
not old. It's you just got it last year for Christmas.
Anyway, I was wearing it because it was cold and I put something on. I didn't think it was or whatever, but it said it didn't fit. So I said, okay, well, cool. Then if she's gonna give it, what are you gonna do with it? Give it to Goodwill. Okay, well, then I'll just cut it up and use it as rags for cleaning the car and shit. And now Kim's all upset about this. She has this weird thing where it's like she wants to. I say, I don't have any plans for this piece of wood over here that we got out of the trash, but don't you use it for anything, Eric?
No, not don't you use it for anything, but don't destroy it.
But Kim,
in the manner that it's just going to end up in the trash eventually.
All things end up in the trash eventually.
Not all things.
Not my love for you. That will never end up in the trash. Instead, it will stay out of the trash.
Mm-hmm.
This one's fascinating. ISP. I enjoyed this comment, but I'm not going to read it because I just think there was something else I wanted to cover. Oh, ISFP. Oh, I know what I wanted to do. Yeah, okay. Now I'm back to the last thing I want to talk about. First of all, this comment is so dumb. He's open and approachable because he's not ISTP. What the hell do you think he is? Gain Fitness Systems. You haven't provided any alternative, nor any arguments as to why we prefer your alternative. You've just critiqued the idea that he's ISTP. Now, that's fine. You can just negate. You don't have to affirm an alt to win an argument. But you've inadequately...
that is not responsive.
But you've inadequately negated, and all of the negationary things you're saying beg a response to the question of what's the alt. If you can't answer the alt, then... And this weak-ass fucking FE shit that you're pulling. Gain Fitness System says to Sinjin, your earlier point misspells your. Earlier point is irrelevant. I'd be embarrassed if I was you. Okay, so there's at least 4 mistakes in this first thing. It's not capitalized to begin with. This word's misspelled. This is a separate sentence. You need to have a period between it. And this should be were, subjunctive mood. You misspell your again. Reply assumes that I don't know why he looks the way he looks. And to me, that's ignorant. Well, I mean, Gain Fitness Systems, if you... he does look like a hippie, okay? But what you said here is looks like a hippie. Where's the freaking SE? When you say where's the freaking SE, that's suggesting that his appearance can be deduced from that. Is there a lack of extroverted sensing? That's where Sinjin replied by saying he doesn't look like a hippie. Then he looks like a Hasidic Jew, because you're saying hippie correlates with a lack of extroverted sensing. It certainly wouldn't correlate with a lack of extroverted sensing if the appearance is due to being a Hasidic Jew, because that's not something where they decided based on their cognitive function stack as to whether it'll look like the official Orthodox looking like rules or whatever they are. So that's why he said that. But I don't know why I'm getting this TI battle with you. All you're doing is a bunch of FE bullshit. FE bullshit. Not all FE's bullshit. Your FE is bullshit. Bullshit. Okay? So just be aware of that. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to say before I got done with that thing is there are a couple of people that have refined my understanding a little bit about the PoLR test in general. So I'm in the middle. We got kind of cut off halfway through the session, but I'm in the middle of typing somebody who, I'm pretty sold already on the fact that she's an INFJ. We've done about 45 minutes or something. I got another, we got a good amount of it done before we had internet problems. But I'm pretty sure she's an INFJ. And yet, she shows something like SI PoLR rather than what I would expect to see from an INFJ, which is SI 8 slot. And I'm pretty sure she's not an ENFJ. So the thing to note about that is it's not a false negative, which is the most critical thing. It could be a false positive. I'm going to double check, triple check, and make sure it's a false positive. A false positive I can live with if it's an INFJ or something. That makes that test less absolutely definitive, but it doesn't invalidate the test at all. It just means that you're going to get within the range, like some ENFJs who are a little bit better, that are more like INFJs. Some INFJs are a little bit worse, more like ENFJs. Upon further testing, it proves out that way. So that's it's both encouraging and frustrating a little bit, because I'd like the SI PoLR test to be perfect. I'm sorry, not SI PoLR. Yeah, SI PoLR test to be perfect. That there's no INFJs or INTJs that ever test positive for SI PoLR. It's always ENTJs and ENFJs. But it may be the case that you can get some INFJs or false positives. False positives are okay. I've yet to encounter, and I don't think I will, I'm not really worried about it, getting false negatives from an ENTJ or an ENFJ. So that's one critical thing I wanted to say here. Another thing is this any question. What counts as PoLR or just bad or somewhere in between or whatever? So Sheila is convinced she's an ISFP. But if she were an ISFP, she'd have extroverted intuition PoLR. I've talked to her on a couple of occasions, and I'm pretty convinced she doesn't have PoLR NE, or at least she tests negative for PoLR NE as I understand the test currently. Now, if she does in fact turn out to be an ISFP, and I conclude from all the other vectors, see, the nice thing about this INFJ chick is she is textbook in every way, except her SI is worse than it should be. So I have to go ahead and say, you're an INFJ. That's giving me a false positive here on this, because it's the one thing that contradicts everything else. So it's a perfect case for me to determine whether or not, in fact, I can reliably eliminate 8th slot SI when I get a positive test on PoLR. I mean, 8th slot SI when I get a positive test on PoLR SI. If, however, it turns out that Sheila's right, that she is an ISFP, then that would be that would comprise a false negative, and that would render it fundamentally flawed in some fashion. Now, I don't know which type Sheila is, and I don't really remember how she did on the NE test exactly. I'd have to test her again. I remember sort of giving it to her, but I don't know. She seemed to. I remember at least that I concluded she had passed them, and that she did not have. She was not afflicted by extroverted intuition polar, but she's quite determined to advocate for ISFP. So that's an interesting question in place there. In general, the Ne PoLR test seems somewhat to have more wiggle room in it than does the SI PoLR test. It's quite striking, SI PoLR test, when they just can't give any details at all. It seems to have a little bit more wiggle room than the TI PoLR test as well. That one, if you push a little bit for a little while, it reveals itself pretty damn quick, and it's pretty definitive. I mean, obviously, as I've said in a video before, it's FE tricky to push long and hard enough on the weakest spot of somebody to try to prove that they can't do that shit. That's FE challenge. People don't necessarily enjoy that. Regardless, so the NE PoLR test is something that is, as all of my evaluatory mechanisms are, something that's undergoing continual observational checking by me and seeing if I can falsify it in some way. Sheila presents potentially falsification of the NE PoLR test. We'd have to get rid of that as a definitive way to determine whether or not somebody is ISFP, ISTP. A lot of people have said that ISTP Binyamin's PoLR seemed better than, extroverted intuition seemed better than PoLR. No, I don't agree with that. His seemed PoLR. He passed the PoLR. He tested positive for extroverted intuition PoLR. Sheila didn't, by my recollection of it. So, if in fact it turns out that Binyamin is not an ISTP, someday down the road, we determine that definitively, well, then that would falsify the NE PoLR test. It would be a false positive, though. That wouldn't falsify the test. It would be a false positive. It would make the amount of things the test can definitively do smaller. So, Sheila, though, is potentially a test killer. If she can pass the NE PoLR test, and she is also an ISFP, then that test isn't any good. Or I'm wrong about something substantial, or I don't know. I'd have to take a big look at things. I'm okay with doing that. I'm okay with having to scrap the NE PoLR test, or come up with a different one, or come up with a more robust one that it does the test NE in different ways. Because I would note as well that there are expressions of extroverted intuition or any function that are different than other expressions. So I'm pretty good at feeling an appropriate emotional response to something that is offensive, like some visible injustice or cruelty. It evokes in me an appropriate emotional response. If you were to test my FI by doing that kind of stuff, you'd say, well, he's very FI. I mean, I've shown him all these things that are designed to upset him, and he's become upset. So there's probably an equivalent in extroverted intuition, that there are some narrow areas where they've already done extroverted intuition work and had to be willfully conscious about it in some fashion that makes it practiced, I guess, in a very narrow sliver. I wouldn't call my FI practice. It's reflexive. So I mean, it could just represent the base level. I mean, this is what it's intended to represent: the base level borderline between what's so basic level of a function that everybody has to be attending by it that way at a minimum competency level. Like, if I'm so bad at TE that when I go to feed myself, I chew and swallow before I put my fork in my mouth, well, I'm not going to survive, probably. So there has to be either workarounds for that, or there's a basic level of TE that anybody can do. Like, there's a famous Far Side cartoon where there's a psychology study or test or whatever. There's a room with a banana hanging from a string and a box in the corner of the room. That's all there is in there. And the idea is that you test to see if the monkey is intelligent enough to push the box over underneath the banana, stand on top of it, and grab the banana. But meanwhile, in the scene, it's like after hours at the laboratory, and it's the cleaning lady is trying to jump up to grab the banana, right? So she hasn't reasoned that she could move the box. I mean, the thing about that is that might represent polar TE, or if assuming she was really trying to get the banana, it, it would probably represent the first time she attempted to get it, and then she thought, okay, I'm not going to be able to jump up and get it. I mean, no one's going to stand there and jump up over and over and over again, unable to reach a banana unless you're just centimeters away from it, But there's a lot of intuitives might not occur to them to move the box. There was this cat painting in my bathroom. It's been there apparently since I moved in. I just noticed it like a couple months ago. I was like, where's this? Oh, look at that painting there. That cat kind of looks like me. Yeah. When did you get that? Did you just get that at the yard sale today or something? So, no, we had that the whole time we lived here. I've never seen it before. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure, Eric. It's been there. Got it like 10 years ago. Huh. It's like you don't necessarily pay attention to your sensory environment. If I really wanted to get the banana, I mean, I can't even see if I really wanted to get the banana. If I really did want to get the banana, I guess I'd push the box over, probably. I'd go, all right, well, how am I going to get up there? There'll be a ladder or somewhere. I'll just stand on that table or box or chair or something, right? I guess probably nobody would fail to do that. Probably no matter what type you are, you're going to successfully figure out to push the box underneath. That's some basic level TE. Would Kimberly figure that out? Maybe not. I wonder. Put a banana. See, you wouldn't want to get... She probably, what you do is, Eric, I can't reach this banana. That's what she would say. That's her metaphysical way of pushing a box underneath there. All right, that's enough comment response and box pushing test. I really want to test Kimberly with this. I gotta hang something that she wants to get some. It doesn't really matter. I'm gonna set up a camera. Well, I'm sure she won't watch this episode before I do it. Set up a camera somewhere. And, hang something like, it doesn't really matter what it is. If she sees it, she'll try to get it down, obviously, because why is there this thing hanging from the ceiling in the living room? Well, hang something that, like she wants, like, I don't know, a Keurig cup. Okay, so, tie the string to a little Keurig cup, and I'll hang it just like an inch below the ceiling. We have some pretty high ceilings in some of our rooms, some of them less high, but make sure she won't be able to reach it. And then I'll move everything out of the room except for one box. It will be suspiciously sitting in the corner. and I'll film her and see what she does, and we'll put that up there. That would be the TE PoLR test. Then you figure out that you should move the box to get on top of it to get the bananas hanging down. If no, you're an IFJ.